Hello, everyone. Welcome to Clean Energy Innovation Spotlights. This session has a very interesting format. We've selected 6 organizations to present innovations related to clean energy. These are interactive highlights, so please feel free to send in your questions. I'm now going to hand this session over to the moderator. Moutushi Sengupta is the India Office Director at MacArthur Foundation. Moutushi, over to you.
Thank you so much. So a warm welcome to all the participants here. This is, as Nargesh mentioned, this is a different format. We are looking at innovations that can be easily upscaled or looked at as we try to find ways and solutions out of the COVID crisis that we are currently surfacing. And as a result of which, there's been a fair amount of, cautiousness and questions as to how would one look at finding, energy efficient and at the same time, environment friendly solutions to the economic crisis that currently is on all of us. So as funders, we have all been trying to figure out ways by which we can take this forward. And today, in fact, this particular session is looking at presenting some of the solutions which are already out there in the market. They are at different stages of testing, and also many of them have actually gone online as well. And what we're going to do over the next few minutes is to hear from each of the 6 presenters that have come on board. So I have with me Mr. Martin Abdul from Grassroots Energy. I would like you to just wave your hand if possible. And then I have got Mr. Kushagra Srivastav on the line. Then I will have Mr. Balram Bhardwaj, who heads Maclec Consulting. And then I've got Mr. Rakesh, I've got Abhilasha Parwar from BreeZo, and lastly, but not least in any way, I've got Mr. Andrew Meyers, who is going to talk to us about a particular innovation related to battery storage. So each of these innovations, in fact, are quite very, very interesting in their own capacity. And I can promise you that the range of products and services that we will get to hear about is really a diverse lot. And the format of the session is likely to be, what we have planned is short presentations from each of these members. And then we will have time for questions. So if you have questions to any particular presenter, please send them into the chat box. And at the end of this short presentations, we will, as a total, once the 6 presentations are done, we will actually be taking up the questions. We'll put them to the various presenters, and then we will take the discussion forward. A request to the presenters that, when you are speaking, if you could get your video and audio in a switched on mode, of course, but once it's done, if you could just put yourself back into audio and video mute, so that you can let the next presenter come in with the presentation, and we can minimize the echoes and the disturbances on the way. So keeping that in view, I would request Mr. Martin Abdul to talk to us about his innovation, and I'll leave him to speak much more about it. So over to you, Martin.
Thank you, Moutushi. So let me just share the screen. So I'm not able to share the screen. Can someone help me?
I think you should have a share screen button,
at the
green
bottom.
button. Yeah, great.
Yeah, that looks great.
Yeah. So hi, everyone. I'm Martin, co-founder at Grassroots Energy. So we provide clean fuel and healthy food inputs in a distributed model. We are basically the 4 challenges we're trying to overcome. Agriculture contributes to about 21% of the global emissions and needs about innovative mitigating solutions. We need robust business model and technology for clean fuels to be scaled up. And we need local jobs and communities. And we need sustainable agri-inputs to retain the topsoil and nutrients. As we know, energy is the bedrock of economic development. If energy is generated clean, sustainable, local and cheaper, it can provide significant difference to the local economies. In most parts of India, there are widely available organic waste which can be productively used. As the waste is spread out, the technology needs to be distributed in a distributed format to provide the local needs. Our solution is bio-CNG. It's an ultra-clean, ultra-low carbon natural gas. Grassroots Energy has developed multiple technologies and innovations across the value chain. Our approach has three solutions. One, clean fuel. Second is waste management. And third is organic fertilizers. Bio-CNG helps in accelerating an adoption of clean fuels. Bio-CNG can reduce about 90% of the carbon footprint over fossil fuels. Organic waste limits the methane emissions. Organic fertilizers sequesters the carbon to protect against extreme events. In addition, it enhances the nutrients in the soil to retain the input costs and increase in yields. Our approach touches upon 11 of the UN SDG goals. The existing biogas upgradation systems are available in larger formats or larger sizes to the factor of about 8 to 10 times. What we're doing is presenting a distributed format, thus increasing the wider deployment of the clean fuels. Our rotating disk scrubbing system operates at atmospheric pressure and energy efficiency, which is much higher, resulting in superior performance. So this results in, which is a modular system, which is 3x energy efficient over alternatives and 2x lesser in terms of operating costs. In most places, gas grids are not available. The only option left is to bottle the gas at high pressure, resulting in high costs and energy during the compression process. Our patent pending adsorption-based cylinders can result in storage pressures at the same mass. So the advantages are 3x in reduction in pressures and less capex and opex and less regulation, which means a wider deployment at the remote locations. So we're looking at three cases of end users. One is cooking, thereby increasing, it can be replacement for LPG or it can be an additional clean fuel, which can be used in commercial cooking. It could be even in domestic cooking. Remote power, it can be used as a fuel for generating electricity, especially in remote locations. And third could be mobility, and this could be not only the traditional applications, it could be even for agricultural applications as well. Could be for reproductive loads. So yeah, so that's it from our end. So happy to take any further questions.
Thank you, Mateen. This is very interesting. Frankly, I mean, when I was going through your website, I mean, what really struck me is just how strong the core benefits are to the model that you have actually put together. So I just had one single question that I would be would really appreciate if you could help me with. I mean, what has been the type of response that you have been receiving from the farmers, especially smallholder farmers or village households for the product that you have put in place?
So we have the existing framework. We have on the bio-CNG side, it's on the testing phase, but on the fertilizers and the waste management, it's already in practice in multiple places in the state of Bihar. And we have a unique value proposition for the waste collection, thereby giving them services, thereby which increases the incomes on a regular basis. Thereby, it is not a price mechanism, but rather an engagement with the community, which is a deeper engagement. And second is on the organic fertilizers. We have been working with large organizations and also in the farmer cooperatives to ensure that these are alternative to the chemical fertilizers, and we have seen increase in yields and the farmers able to see improvement in the soil quality and improvement in the farm yields. And the results have been fantastic. And there have been significant amount of farmers who have cut down about 60 to even 80% of the dependency on chemical fertilizers. And now we are taking this solution to a much larger scale.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I'd love to know more about the product, but for later. Thank you. So can I request you to just mute your audio and video and request Mr. Srivastav, Chakr Srivastav, to tell us a little more about his product. Mr. Srivastav, if you could just get your audio and video both switched on.
Am I audible now?
Yes, we can see you. Thank you so much. Carry on.
Is my screen visible?
Yes.
The presentation? Yes, great. Thank you. Sorry, there was some mix-up. I'm the founder and CEO at Chakr Innovation, and we are trying to solve the problem of air pollution for India. So basically, of course, air pollution, we talk about it, the major health scares are due to the particulate matter, PM 2.5 and PM 10, as they're popularly known. Now, PM 2.5 is much more hazardous because of the smaller size. It enters the nose, the lungs cannot filter it, and it directly goes into the bloodstream of humans. And one, it has been linked to various problems, not just respiratory, but also cardiovascular, preterm births, and various other health ailments. Now, coming to the various sources of this particulate matter 2.5 within India. So again, these are various studies done by the Ministry of Environment, Central Pollution Control Board, various IITs as well, that estimate that stationary diesel generators, which are used for power backup across the country, contribute significantly to the particulate matter concentration in the ambient air. So just to give you some numbers, approximately 16% of particulate matter, PM 2.5 pollution in Delhi NCR comes from stationary DG sets. 25% in Bangalore, which is the second highest contributor after commercial vehicles, around 9% in Chennai, and similar figures for other metropolitan cities as well. The other thing that makes emissions from diesel generators very hazardous is that it's a very local source of emissions. So although the emissions from a commercial vehicle are spread across the highway, and it will get diluted by the time it reaches a residential complex or a school, but for a diesel generator, the exhaust is located right in the heart of a densely populated residential society, school, college, hospital, etc., which makes the emissions even more deadly. So there are studies which suggest that when a diesel generator is running, the particulate matter concentration in the nearby area is almost 50% higher than the PM concentration in the ambient air at that point in time. So we started Chakr Innovation around 3 years back to solve this problem. And we are all engineers who started this company. So we wanted to use technology to help address this problem. So it took us around 2 years of research and development to develop a novel retrofit emission control equipment. It's a patented technology which essentially fits on a diesel generator's exhaust. So when the exhaust comes out of the diesel generator, it passes through our device. Our device is a mixture of various catalysts, various mechanisms that we have designed using computational fluid dynamics. And the end result or the output is that we are able to reduce particulate matter emissions by around 84%. And this has again been tested by government labs. Carbon monoxide emissions we are able to reduce by 94%, and hydrocarbon emissions we are able to reduce by 95%. So that's the difference in the concentration of various pollutants before and after our equipment. And the product has a long life of 10 to 12 years. There is very minimal energy that is used to operate it. So we use less than 1% of the net power output of the diesel generators. The back pressure is within permissible limits. So basically the equipment is invisible to the engine, so it does not increase the fuel consumption in any way. There are no harmful byproducts, etc. And the emissions are reduced significantly. So that's the technology that we have built and we've been commercializing. We currently have over 90 of these devices deployed on diesel generators from 15 kVA, which is like a small EG set used in a household or a small shop, all the way up to 2000 kVA, which are larger engines used in malls, large manufacturing units, etc. and the impact that we've been able to create has been tremendous. So I mean, in all of these 80-90 cases, in the last 1.5 years since when the technology has been deployed, it has been consistently reducing that amount of emissions. The government of India has also accepted our recommendations to make the norms more stringent. So a few state governments have actually made retrofitting of diesel generators mandatory in their respective states. These are the current users of our technology. So some of the Tata Group companies, large oil and gas companies, British High Commission, FMCG sector has been adopting the technology. And in terms of, just to tell you the recognitions and awards that we have, so the technology has been awarded nationally and internationally. We were awarded as the UN Champions of Earth by in 2018. WWF Climate of Change, Forbes 30 Under 30, and various other national and international recognitions. So that is what we are trying to do, is to solve the problem of air pollution for India. That is briefly about us. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you so much. I mean, especially, I mean, obviously over the last, not taking into account the last 90 days, I think the issue of air pollution is actually been such a big issue. It has occupied so much of mind space and news space across the whole country. I think this is likely to be of huge potential. But my question was, just wanted to, if you could tell me, I mean, how has this product been? I mean, I'm assuming that this is probably a unique offering that is available in the market today. And have you been able to take it to the pollution control boards and of the states and the center? And what has their response been?
Sure. So that's a very fair question to ask. So basically, we have been interacting with the Ministry of Environment. This is the union government and the Central Pollution Control Board. And since last couple of years, we've been advocating that diesel generators are a prominent source of pollution. And we already have almost 90 gigawatt of installed capacity of diesel generators. So in India, it is estimated that the total power production capacity that we have as a country, including nuclear, thermal, solar, everything, is anywhere between 500 to 600 gigawatts. 90 gigawatts is diesel generators, growing at almost 5 to 7% year on year. So we essentially educated the various policymakers that, one, it's a huge problem. It's a problem that is here to stay and needs to be addressed immediately. And of course, a few countries have already adopted retrofit policies. A few European countries, Australia, certain states in the United States. And after almost a 2-year-long process, the government of India did accept our recommendation. And under the National Clean Air Action Program that was released by the Ministry of Environment, they did recognize DG sets as a huge source of problem and made a recommendation to various state governments, state pollution control boards, to make retrofitment policies for their respective states. After that, 3 states in India have already implemented the policy. Others are in the pipeline. Hopefully, once the lockdown opens up, we'll see more action on that front.
Good luck with that. Thank you so much, Chakr. Thanks. We will move on to the next the presenter. I would like to retain time for questions. Over to you, Mr. Bhardwaj. Mr. Bhardwaj heads the Maclec. Yes, please carry on. Yes, good to see. Yes.
Hello, everyone. Electricity is the necessity to make our lives convenient and comfortable. The post-COVID-19 goal of the India to be self-sufficient is possible only when India can be self-reliant in renewable energy generation. Hi, I'm Balram Bhardwaj. Along with Mr. Nayan Bhardwaj, we have been working in the field of environment and mechanical engineering since last 15 years. Being born and brought up in a remote village of India, every day's challenge to make life easy ignited a zeal to find quickly jugaad. That is to experiment with our limited resources in an innovative ways with a flexible approach. Those childhood experiences have grown into a passion and now a full-time profession at Maclec, where we bring our ideas into life. This is one of the ideas. So Maclec was established in 2014 in New Delhi. We identified the hydroelectric potential, which is going west so far in the form of canal and rivers water flow, which is going west. The global hydrokinetic potential is more than 3,000 gigawatts, which we have identified, and Indian global potential is more than 175 gigawatt, which is going westward. That's the reason we have identified one of the most easiest way to harness this potential. Next. So the present renewable energy sources like solar, wind, and energies and similar technologies are very unreliable, owing their seasonal and diurnal variations and the limited scope of these technologies. Existing hydropower projects are also very vulnerable to natural disasters and can cause irreversible impact to the local biodiversity, flora, fauna, and dependent livelihood are worst hit. So we need to some better ideas to balance these yet delivering best. So you can see here in the slide that you can find out the conventional renewable energy sources like solar, biopower, wind, and small hydro. They have very limited scope in our complete hydro power generation basket. Next. So to identifying this problem, we come up with a solution to generate hydropower with a very reliable, easy to implement hydrokinetic turbine. It is a completely indigenous turbine which we called SHK, surface hydrokinetic turbine. It is a fundamental difference of this turbine than conventional one because it doesn't require any kind of civil structure. So the solution for environmental issues is no civil structure required, so no diversion into the river, so no mega civil stress is required. Approval issues is very less because here we can install directly to the any kind of canal and river. Gestation time of this turbine installation is very limited. Like once you install the turbine, you start generating the power. The LCOE cost of this turbine is very, very low, like 0.7 lakh per kilowatt is the installation cost, and less than 1 rupees we can approach to get the power generation cost. And for this technology, we have got more than 8 national awards, and including World Wildlife Fund Climate Solver Award and the European Union's Climate Solver Technology Award. Recently, NASA from US identified this turbine as an X-Factor innovation of the world and invited us to US. So far, we have installed more than 60 field trials certified by IIT Roorkee and many other eminent organizations. We are revenue positive, raised more than $1 million US, currently installing our first 100 kilowatt plant and 5 megawatt plant in Punjab. And we have more than 100 megawatt worth of orders under our pipeline. Next. So why this technology is worth to have installed in Indian rural areas? Because the less than $1,500 per kilowatt hour capex and the lowest opex and 2 cents per kilowatt hour unit generation cost, our turbine is the most affordable, modular, scalable, replicable, relocatable, debris free, simplest yet robust energy generation systems, which is easy to fabricate, transport, assemble, and install with a negligible structure, capable to harness energy from running rivers, canals, rivulets, tidal streams, having at least 0.5 meter per second. You can say we very limited, like 0.5 meter per second, we can start generating power. So as a pressure aerator, this turbine not only generates power from the rivers, it can also treat the water by adding more oxygen into the water itself. So it enhances the dissolved oxygen level and reduce the BOD and COD levels. So next. So why the demand is right now? As I can tell you already that the share of renewable energy in Indian energy sector is increasing and demand is keep on increasing. Right now, the government of India require a base load power solution for renewable energy. And that is why government of India has given us various incentives like government schemes are there, renewable purchase agreement obligations are there, low cost, long-term bank loans are there, and time-bound renewable energy targets are already there. So post COVID-19 utilization of our technology is very much higher because it can provide a distributed generation solution for hydro sector growth. It can enhance the rural economic development by providing an irrigation and post-harvest management solution. And it can reduce the cost of MSME productions by giving them a low-cost energy solution and can also generate the more environment-friendly outcomes. Next. So the business model is we are targeting right now for off-grid and grid-connected power plants. For off-grid, we are targeting through the buyers like local communities, MSMEs, institutions, like government institutions are helping us to implement, to get this technology installed nearby the rivers and canal where the farmers are actually farming. And for the grid-connected systems, we are in touch with CSIR and also NHPC, Tata Power, and other major giants. Next. So here the Maclec, we are dedicated to implement this technology on the ground, and we are doing very well. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Balram. This is really very helpful. Just one question
Sure.
from my end. Basically, I just wanted to know that one of the issues that we hear about hydropower is the fact that it's in many cases, it's not a perennial source. So
Yeah.
have you focused only on perennial sources, and do you think climate change and reduced water in the waterways themselves have the chance to affect the model that you have put in place?
Yeah, so that is the reason we are first targeting to those areas where at least 6 months of running water is available. And second, we have developing another module which can be installed in tidal streams. In tides,
Okay.
there are perennial. So we are
Yeah.
also trying to implement this in tidal areas where the tidal rivers and currents are there. So this is another model which is coming up in next year itself.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. This is very helpful. So we'll move on to the next presenter. I've got Mr. Rakesh, who is leading on Meladath Auto component parts, and I would request him to come on board. Mr. Bhardwaj, if I can request you to just switch off your video for the moment, but stay connected. We will all come back together at the end of the 6 presentations. Thank you.
For sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good evening, Moutushi.
Good evening. Yeah.
Yeah. Is my screen seen?
Yes, it's visible now.
Okay. So good evening to all. So I'm Rakesh. I'm founder of an automotive manufacturing startup based out of Bangalore. What we have done is we are working on IC engine technologies and e-mobility solutions. Today, we would like to share our easy hybrid. This is a retrofittable electric hybrid conversion kit for petrol scooters. The petrol scooters, old scooters which are polluting, can be made into a greener solutions without any modifications. So briefly, this is our team. We are working on together on these solutions. These are our product portfolios. We have solutions for IC engines, and we are working towards electric mobility solutions. And when we had started off way back in 2016, when we were an IC engine technology company, we used to run for raising capital. We used to meet people, and most of the people the investors used to give us some feedback that why should we invest on IC engine technology where the future is going to be electric. And the way what we thought is, as a startup, we also wanted to come into an electric mobility, but we didn't want it to be any other startup working on a scooter, bikes, or cars, because we knew that electric mobility is not new to India. We've been seeing electric solutions almost a decade old, like Ampere's, Hero Electric, TVS, and have been tried this technology almost a decade old. But there are challenges in market which is preventing people in adapting electric mobility. So we wanted to see that we address those challenges which is not met by electric mobility today. And that's why we thought out this solution called as an easy hybrid. So just to give the glimpse of what the solutions offers, like for example, we all know like we need sustainable, innovative solutions which are greener. So today the problem is with all these existing mobility solutions are we have the prices are going higher, we have environment which is getting depleted, the resources are getting depleted, and further like the vehicle densities are getting increased. And in order to tackle those challenges, if you look at an alternative, like if you want to buy an electric mobility, the challenge to an buyer is the cost of adoption higher, and he has to live the challenges like you have a very limited charging infrastructures, reliability, and again, when we talk about electric mobility, we are all limiting the solution access to only to urban population. We don't have any solutions today to offer to rural. So these were the challenges we wanted to address. So what we have come out thought is, when we wanted to address these challenges, we realized that short term, if you want to look at as a long term, obviously the alternative fuels are the best solutions to take in. But to address the solutions immediately, we needed something on electric hybridization. So these were the thoughts behind coming out of our solutions. So what we have done today is we have a retrofittable electric hybrid conversion kit, which is patent granted. So what idea is, there are almost 8 crore petrol scooters in India which are running on road. These are polluting scooters, which can be converted to a scooter which can be driven both on electric and petrol together. So our kit, which consists of components, when we add to a scooter, the scooter becomes a dual fuel scooter. Means a user can run the scooter in electric mode for up to 40 kilometers using 1 kilowatt replaceable battery. Then when the battery gets drained, unlike any other electric mobility user, he doesn't have to get a range anxiety or fear, because you have to just switch the mode of the scooter to a petrol and continuous commuting. So here we will address the need, address the challenges like range anxiety, which is the biggest concern in buyer today, and again reliability. See, today when we talk about an electric mobility, we are not sure about the electric power availability in our homes for next 2 hours also. So we can't expect somebody to completely rely his mobility solutions on electric. So this is a solutions. That's how like we try to address the challenge in the market. So when you look at a customer value propositions, the kit which is you have developed is retrofittable, which means does not require any modification welding process on the scooter. It can be converted. A scooter can be converted within 40 minutes of a time without any welding, which means the whole scooter can be returned back in the same condition. And the whole cost of ownership would be almost 40%, because we are not selling a whole scooter and all the, because today when you talk about ownership cost, you talk about road tax, insurance, everything. But when you're talking about a kit, the cost of ownership would be much more cheaper. And we're going to get almost 40 kilometers range in a scooter. And social impact of this solution is, as we all talk about like sustainability, it's not the new vehicles which are polluting the environment, it's about the old scooters and vehicles. So this solution, when immediately when it's implemented, is going to impact, bring an impact in the that area where the pollutions are higher. And again, when we talk about any electric mobility solutions, it ends up adding more vehicles on the street. In our solution, we are not going to add a scooter on the vehicles, thereby like we don't will be able to use our existing resources more efficiently. And obviously, the impact is we will have more waste management possibility. And the impact of this idea are multi-front. In terms of social, in terms of like environment, we will be able to bring down almost 15% reduction of GHG emissions, which will enable the government of India to meet the targets. And also another one is we have estimated that if an end user is commuting 50 kilometers a day with a petrol of 100 rupees, with our kit, he will be sustaining that same 100 rupees petrol for 4 days, which means he will be not going to petrol bunk for next 3 days, because you have 40 kilometers on electric and remaining only 10 kilometers you will commute on a petrol. So thereby what will happen is daily consumption petrol will also come down. So you will be able to have much more better sustainable solutions. And obviously, like and all the components of this component has been designed and developed in India. So all the vendors are in India. So we will be able to bring in a lot of resources and technologies upfront. And this was how we started. We had an initial product where we wanted to test it. Okay, the idea is the kit is fitted on the front wheel. So this is one of our technology where the front wheel is fitted with a powertrain. And and this is our testing scenarios where we wanted to see how it works with a 2-passenger with a front wheel power. So we made sure that the kit works perfectly in the user application. And in terms of attributes, we are I think we should say that this is the world's first technology wherein we have a hybrid which is retrofittable. We have a scalable. We are talking about a kit which can be easily implemented. And another way of looking at it, this will be an Indian innovation for a global application, because the two-wheeler market is not just limited to India. All the developing countries are mostly a two-wheeler market, and this can bring in an immediate impact there. And so this is something which on a market size on domestic, as I said, there are almost 8 crore petrol scooters as per the records, and almost like 4 crores are only Honda Activa themselves have sold almost 4 crore petrol scooters. And today we've been receiving a lot of inquiries from international market as well, like Southeast Asian market, Pakistan, Indonesia, and also from Europe we have received inquiries. So this is a business model where we would be directly implementing to our customers. We are also getting inquiries for a B2B, where a lot of fleet owners who are using a petrol scooter fleets to be converted to electric. This is our roadmap, and the way forward is we are looking forward to raise more funds. We were the best startups in Untitled Innovation Mission's New India Challenge, and we would be coming down to market by end of this year with all the formal regulation process followed. So these are mentors who are behind us, who have been supporting us. Some of the recognitions we have. Our innovations have garnered. So like this year we have won the Abdul Innovations New India Challenge on mobility and a total the Startup Plus Social Alpha Challenge. So that's briefly about our innovations to sustainability. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Rakesh. So I think there is a lot of potential, as you say. I mean, and the business case that you make is really very promising. And I hope, looking forward, there is uptake of this product as much as possible as we move forward as such. We are running a little late for the session as such, so I'm going to move to the next presenter. So I have got with me Ms. Abhilasha Parwar, who is actually heading BreeZo and Blue Sky Analytics, and I will request her to put her presentation through. Thank you.
Hi, just a second. Can you guys see me?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Thanks. And let me share my screen. Okay. And you can see the screen as well. Hello?
We can see it. Yeah, we can see it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, guys. So my name is Abhilasha, and I'm founder and CEO of Blue Sky Analytics. Let me just go back to the beginning. Okay, so we are, I'll come to the kind of firm. The major focus that we have is on overall climate change and climate risk. We actually started our journey with air pollution, but very soon realized that most of these issues were extremely interdisciplinary topic, and the technology play that we were doing allowed us to actually expand beyond air into other domains and became like a climate change focused satellite data analytics company. So thanks so much for all the presenters before me. And I mean, some of the innovations are amazing, but all of the innovations were in the hardware space. And we might be actually some data partners for you to expand your hardwares into all parts of the country, essentially. And that was our goal, to become like Bloomberg for environmental data and help whoever is taking an environmental product out or a climate decision or a climate action to make the best kind of decision in the fastest, quickest manner. Because what we realized with just playing around with air pollution data for 6 months was that we were spending our time just collating so much information to get like basic overview about things. And this time that was going in data analytics was going away from decision making, was going away from actual actions on the ground. And hence we sort of build a global environmental data stack, which is in air, water, soil, urban informatics, flood and drought risk, extreme heat, and farm and forest fires. And how we came onto this was that we actually started playing with this one particular satellite and its data about 8 months after it was launched. And 3 months later, you're like, this is what we're going to do for like next 5 to 7 years, because this data is so powerful and there's so much of it, but it's not really analyzed and taken to the customers in the best manner, and it's not really harvested. So as you can see, there is increased satellite data, and there is increased climate uncertainty in the world, and in the intersection we sort of emerged. So this is kind of what our daily work looks like. The first one is one of our product that's already out, which is on air quality monitoring, and we have a pan-India air quality data API. So you hit the API, you give us the latitude, longitude, the time of the day, and we'll give you what was the air quality in that place, and for much longer historical time series. And we recently crossed more than like 1.5 million hits on that API. So there's a lot of people who want to extract this information and use it for different purposes. The second one is farm and forest fires. This actually started because we're based in Gurgaon, and we see so much like pollution in the month of October and November from the crop fires that burn like right next door. And as I think the first startup was saying that, you know, you can do so much with like biomass and biomass-based electricity and other products, but that was not happening. And we went into more details into like why were people not enabling this like crop waste-based economy and converting this crop waste into tangible goods rather than, you know, just burning it up. And again, time, decision-making, collecting data, pricing, all of those informations were not taking much more time than it would with our product. So we started working on calculating emissions, when are the fires happening, when is people harvesting, all those kinds of stuff. And you will be surprised to know we got so much attraction for this product from across the globe. We got a lot of inbounds from Australia during the Australian fires. We got a lot of inbounds during the Amazonian fires and even during the Siberian fires, because global fire management has become a very forthcoming agenda, sadly because of the climate change and increasing temperature. The third product is my favorite. It's industrial emissions. So we started monitoring all the power plants across the country from satellites. So they have no clue that we exist, but we know what they are emitting on any day. And so as of now, we get data at a 3-day frequency, but we can like tell you which power plant emitted on an annual basis or a monthly basis, how much pollution across the last year. And we want to do it for many industrial clusters. So there is no more hiding. There is no more lying. There is no more like telling that my data was 150 and anything. Right now, obviously, there is a big slump in the market because of the economic downturn. But when the economy revives again, we want to be there to make sure that a green economy revives and not a polluting economy, and put that thing to work. We then moved into water monitoring from air last year when Chennai ran out of water, and we sort of had some conversations with certain like government officers on just like planning, because a lot of people should have known that this is going to be the case in future, but Chennai and Tamil Nadu was not exactly very prepared for it. And monitoring the surface water bodies, both quantity and quality, actually gives us really extensive data set and understanding into even like agriculture risk, flood risk, and so forth. And then we also started to sort of monitor like pollutants that were coming into different bodies. And this is like so much more powerful because now you can have an understanding of Yamuna or Ganga as a river and know where your pollution sources are and actually go to them, as opposed to like we say, satellites, eyes in the sky are better than boots on the ground because it gives you really the scale and the, that you need to take the action. So we are a completely tech team. When the remote working started, we were completely comfortable, and it actually enhanced our productivity, and we decided we will never come back to office again. So we have about 12 people in the team who work in their houses across the world now, and they take global satellite data along with ancillary data and a lot of ground measurement data, which is what we call our pipeline, as you can see on the left-hand side. This goes into processing, and so this is what we are kind of building. We make a parallel of this from oil refinery, and we say like, Dhirubhai Ambani build the biggest oil refinery in the country. We're going to build biggest data refinery and provide environmental data to everybody. And in the end, you get APIs, and often we even put a dashboard or a web platform or a mobile app onto our API and provide it to final customers. We are an AI company, and the major value proposition comes from the fact that satellite data is about 200 TBs, which is way too much than any government agency, any private sector, any public policy think tank, anybody to analyze. This needs specialized skills. So even though Dalberg or MacArthur Foundation or Chakr Innovation or Indian government might have a lot of use cases and a lot of information that might come from this, but none of you guys simply have that capacity, and that's what we wanted to build. And so our value comes from taking 200 terabytes of crude oil, crude data, into 200 megabytes of refined data streams and give it to our customers. This is some of our like examples. Like Zuri is a product which is mixes AI and satellite to monitor fires and has gotten pretty good this thing. BreeZo, I'll give some sort of features. It's available at 1 by 1 kilometer square resolution, which is pretty massive. And we also have about 15 years of historical data. So you can really compare what was happening in 2007 versus 2017 versus 2020. We just did some bunch of articles on pre and post COVID, and they were like, they got really good reception because you see such a clear like downfall. This is how some of our platforms look like. We're getting into the firework where we will have potentially 18 years of historical data, and will be completely automated. So there's any fire, if like a Uttarakhand government or Punjab government is trying to monitor it out, it makes life much easier. I have a storm in the background, sorry. And those are some of the features that we are putting out. We have won a lot of AI innovation prize. We won, just yesterday actually, we won a $300,000 AI for Humanity prize from Patrick J. McGowan Foundation and Schmidt Futures. And we are raising our seed round, and we are sort of reaching out to our customers. We've got some really high profile customers range in the US, in New York, in Australia, and in India. And yeah, like if you know, okay, I will do my sales pitch. If you know any tech people out there, we're hiring tech lead, full stack developer, data scientists. And if your friends are into tech, or just tell them to like learn how to code over the next 2-3 months and then apply for us, because we want all the smartest engineers and data scientists in the country to work on climate action with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Abhilasha. This is, as usual, I mean, I've heard you before, and as exciting as the last pitch that you had put through, the fact that we are able to use, artificial intelligence to take all this information put it into data bytes that are useful to various sets of institutions, I think is hugely promising. And I think going forward, COVID or no COVID, I think the potential for this type of product is huge. Since we are running a little short of time, Abhilasha, we'll move on to the next presentation, the last one from Dr. Andrew Meyers. And again, I think like the other presentations, I think another very, very interesting model coming up. So please stay put. Thanks.
Thanks.
Hello, how are you?
Hi.
Let me just share my screen here. Okay, you should be seeing my screen. Is that okay?
Yes, yes, we can. Thanks.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Well, good afternoon, everyone. I've got my evening background here because it's late in the evening. I'm actually speaking to you from just north of Sydney. So I would like to have been there to have done this remotely from India, but remotely from Newcastle is almost the same. So a little bit about Switched In. We're looking to solve a key problem that's facing the energy transition, and India is at the forefront of dealing with this problem. What we're seeing is the transition of a centralized managed system to a distributed energy service. And in particular, it's being driven by the uptake of renewable energy. Many forms of renewable energy have the wonderful advantage that you can use the energy near the location where it's generated. So what this means is that we've had a burgeoning of a whole range of new energy service models. But there's a problem because these systems, whilst they might be able to generate energy on their own, their utility and their efficiency is greatly enhanced when they work in concert with the modern grid. But by and large, these systems are uncontrolled, and this can lead to problems. India has done very well, for example, in terms of promoting the uptake of solar energy. But with a weak distribution network, the advantages that could come from this intensive investment and activity are just not going to be realized. So we look to solve that problem, but I can't solve my problem with my slide here. So for some reason, I can't seem to change my slide. Okay. So we seek to solve that problem. So Switched In was founded in 2014, and we've been very active in the Australian market. We work with almost all the major utilities. In Australia, we have a disaggregated market. So our focus has been around supporting the distribution networks and improving their ability to handle distributed energy resources. In particular, rooftop solar and battery storage. And I'm really here talking about the smaller systems, so less than 30 megawatts, that wouldn't otherwise be considered the systems that are controlled by the utility SCADA solutions. This is really the forefront of the scaling opportunity that will come from renewable energy. Smaller behind the meter and smaller utility and commercial and industrial type assets. So we have an energy management solution and a cloud platform that enables us to firstly connect and integrate different distributed energy resource assets. So solar inverters, battery systems, power meters, and certain controlled loads such as air conditioning and heat pumps. This interconnection enables us to coordinate and control these assets in order to improve the operation of microgrids, to build virtual power plants to enable energy market participation, and also just to improve the way these assets work in the local network. We work with distribution network operators, with energy service companies and electricity retailers, with system integrators and microgrid developers, and more recently with manufacturers as we start to embed our software into third-party products, such as smart meters and battery storage systems. We work with all the tier 1 customers in Australia, and in 2018, we started deploying solutions into the European market. Last year, in 2019, we started early market development activities in India, and we recognize a key opportunity, and we're keen to identify partners. So what's the real problem? So having lots of rooftop solar and having batteries deployed and having generators installed into the local distribution network can deliver a lot of benefits. But many of these won't be realized. In fact, many of these will actually create problems for the network operator if the network operator doesn't have visibility on the way these things are operating. And in particular, that they don't have the ability to manage and coordinate their operation. So unmanaged distributed energy resources can lead to power quality and reliability issues. In Australia and in India, we're seeing regions where there is either large solar PV presence or large solar PV plants, or weak grids, such as on the edge of the network. We're seeing the rise of voltage issues and concomitant disruptions to service. We're also seeing investments in alternate energy service models, such as microgrids through escrows, that are just not realizing the full potential of these investments. So one of the challenge, Bud, is that these types of DER assets, it's a very fragmented market, and there's no uniform standards for connecting these smaller assets. Technical standards would go a long way to help, but this is a very innovative and fragmented market. What Switched In has been able to do is to build a big library of integrations. If you like, we are the Zapier of distributed energy resources. We enable the interconnection of a whole range of vendor products and different asset types into the control systems of the distribution networks and into the operating, and in order to provide an operating platform for energy service companies. So Switched In brings harmony to the shouting match that is today's distributed energy system. We install a local controller energy management solution on a site which manages the integration and exchange of data and enablement of control. Embedded in these edge devices is the machine learning and predictive optimization tools that enable us to optimize based on forecasted demand and forecasted generation on each site. We then enable through our cloud platform and through through our communication platform agnostic data pathways. We enable coordination between sites to improve the operation of microgrids, and across large areas to build virtual power plants for energy market participation. So that's it. We are very keen to identify partners in the Indian market, in particular system integrators and project developers. We see a big opportunity in the commercial rooftop solar space, where existing developers are looking to seek new value by co-opting the value that comes from on-site battery storage and selling network services. We're also interested in partners in the ESCO space that are looking to improve efficiency and coordination between community microgrids and low voltage network operators.
Thank you so much.
you.
This is very helpful to understand. And as I started out by saying, I think just the wide range of spotlights that we have had the opportunity to actually experience today is quite mind-blowing. And the options that are available for a greener future ahead with frugal solutions, with integrated solutions that were presented today, I think makes a huge difference. I know many of you have actually put up questions in the Q&A section. Thank you, Andrew. I'll probably just try to close this down a little bit now because of time constraints. And I just to sort of speak to the participants in overall that we have received a fair number of questions for the presentations that were made. I mean, due to paucity of time, I don't think we would have enough time to respond to each of them as such. My request would be that you can actually pursue these questions by contacting the presenters themselves. They are listed on the Charcha website, and in case you would like to reach out to them, I would suggest that please reach out to them directly. Before I sign off and I thank the presenters, I would request each of the 6 presenters to actually get their videos switched on so that everybody is visible at the same time, so that participants get a chance to see all the presenters once more. Can I request everybody to come online? Abhilasha?
I can't. Somebody has to give me the permission.
Oh.
Same here.
Nargesh, yeah, we can see you now. Yes. Wonderful. Can we have the video option for Mr. Bhardwaj?
Yeah, I'm about to do, but host has disabled it, so I think I need permission from host.
Rohit, Nargesh, can one of you help out? Martin, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I think mine also switched off. I'm not able to turn it on.
So Chacha says, please try now.
No, it doesn't turn on.
Doesn't turn on. Okay.
So I'm still disabled by the host.
Must be because of a technical glitch. But I really wanted to thank you for making time for this presentation. I mean, I found the 6 presentations so fascinating. I mean, they touch upon different parts of this clean energy debate that we currently experience across the board, and which has taken on a new meaning altogether with the COVID situation and the economic crisis that has come through. One thing that has really come across very clearly is the fact that we would need solutions locally, local solutions which are frugal in their approach and which meet specific demands. And each of the presentations that I think that were made today meet that indicator very strongly as such. So I would really request participants to get in touch with the presenters if you would like to know more. I certainly have some questions myself and I will come back to it. And so thank you very much. Hope to connect sometime again in the near future.